Newsfirst is geared up to bring you a comprehensive report of the fire that broke out at the Salab Army camp in Koskammer and the difficulties faced by the people in its aftermath.
The government is also in motion of providing relief to those affected by the incident. Good evening and welcome to Prime Time News.
I'm Joel Outsgood.
And I'm Bernadine Jai Singha.
Here's a look at tonight's headlines.
Fire which broke out at the Salava camp doused.
Court of inquiry into the incident to be launched, a decision by the army commander.
Government assures that homes damaged by the fire in Koskammer will be rebuilt or repaired.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, who was arrested for the third time, released on bail.
The inauguration of the National Nutrition Month was held at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute in Colombo today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
A group including Health Minister Rajitha Senaratne attended the inauguration of the 2016 National Nutrition Month, at which President Sirisena was the chief guest. This year's National Nutritional Month centers around consuming healthy portions of food. Several organizations, including the Ministry of Health, Nutrition and Indigenous Medicine, UNICEF and the World Food Programme were represented at this event.
Your Excellency, an ordinary person is unable to get a health checkup in our country today. They only go to the hospitals when the symptoms of some disease arise. There is no system in place for them to visit the hospital beforehand and get themselves checked. The wealthy can use health checkup services at private hospitals. They have various types of checkups for various prices. Therefore, we have decided to establish health clinic centers at all 482 MOH offices. So with the exception of MRI and CT scans, we will provide all other services such as ECG or echocardiograms and blood tests as well as X-rays at these centers in order to subject the populace to health checkups every year. If we implement this by 2025, we can reduce non-communicable diseases by 10%.
The inferno at the Salava Army base in Koskammer had been doused by around 3:30 this afternoon. Now speaking to Newsfirst, Army spokesperson Brigadier Jana Jayavira confirmed that the flames had been doused. A soldier was killed in the fire and explosions that followed, while 47 people were injured. Newsfirst Kan Sampath, who joined us from the scene of the tragedy earlier this evening.
I'm joining you from the Boruluguda Sri Vardhanaram Vihare. You can see that the background is quite dark, which is as a result of the power outage which has been in effect since last evening. A majority of the people who are sheltered here are people who are living in close proximity to the Salava Army camp along the Colombo-Avisavilla road. We learned that around 500 people are taking shelter at this temple. These individuals tell us that their houses have been completely destroyed. People who fled to various locations due to the fire are gradually gathering here at this location. Tell us a bit about what you experienced yesterday.
We heard a massive noise at around 5:35 p.m. We saw smoke rising, so we rushed towards the camp. When we were running towards the camp, we saw a huge inferno. We heard 3 or 4 more explosions followed by shower or shrapnel. We ran away and instructed others to do the same as well.
What is the situation of the houses?
Our houses have been destroyed. Our roofs have been destroyed. We can no longer live in these houses. So most of the families are currently at the Vardhanarama.
What these people are asking for is to ensure that this area is secure once more and to create a background for them to resettle.
Intermittent explosions occurred this morning as well at the Sri Lanka Army Volunteer Force Headquarters camp in Salava. External individuals and the media were prohibited from entering the camp premises today as well. This footage was captured via drone camera.
We heard an explosion from the camp a short while ago. We heard the noise about 5 minutes ago as well. However, we do not hear the same noise right now. The appearance of the smoke keeps changing gradually. We were able to witness how the plumes of smoke that is released into the air is spreading to all surrounding locations.
Newsfirst was also able to obtain this footage, which was captured from a high vantage point near the camp.
දැන් වෙලාව හරියටම 3 පසුවේ විනාඩි 25ක් ගත වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ වෙලාව වන විට ශාලාව කඳවුර තුල අසන්නට ලැබුණු පිපිරීම් ශබ්ද.
The time now is 3:25. The explosions which we heard coming from the Salava camp earlier is no more. We can see that the fire has been completely doused. Security around the location has been beefed up. However, we are able to witness shrapnel spread out through a large area, including where I am standing right now.
මෙවැනි කැබලි විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් දැකගත හැකියි.
The fire broke out in the munitions dump at the army camp last evening. Immediately after the fire and explosion, security forces informed area residents to evacuate as soon as possible. Accordingly, people within a 6-kilometer radius of the camp were evacuated to safety last evening. Severe traffic congestion was also reported last evening as a result of the Colombo-Avisavilla road being closed at 2 locations within 5 kilometers of the camp. Our reporters at the scene noted that while fire and rescue services approached the camp, they were unable to enter the premises due to the continuing sporadic explosions. Army Commander Lieutenant General Krishanto De Silva had arrived at the scene last night and coordinated the military in the containment effort, while machines, fire and rescue equipment and ambulances were able to enter the camp from time to time.
They say that there is a fire at the Salava army camp and there were many people screaming and fleeing their homes. We are just going on this road. We came here because they told us to go. It is on fire. There are mortars falling from the sky and we are able to see it.
We don't know what is going on. They are asking us to stay away. We heard noises like bomb blasts. When we watched Sirasa, it was announced that people should stay 6 kilometers away from the explosion site.
The Salava Army camp is home to the Sri Lanka Army Volunteer Force headquarters. The Army media spokesperson noted that the cantonment, which spans an area of about 55 acres, has had a munitions dump which has been used since the war. While small arms ammunition was sorted at the munitions dump, tanks and artillery guns were also sorted here.
Immediately after the initial explosions at the Salava Army camp, steps were taken to swiftly evacuate people within a 4-kilometer radius of the camp.
මාර්ට වගේ තමයි සිද්ධිය පටන් ගත්තේ. අපි පොඩ්ඩක් බැලුවා බලනවා ටිකක් දරුණු තත්ත්වෙ ගියා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ අපි අර කන්දරකොට වුණා. ඔන්න කැලිනවා.
ගෙදර අම්මලා වහලා ඉන්න සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විනාශ වෙලා. අපි ගෙතේ හා ගෙදර ගිනි ගන්නවා. මගේ ගෙදරත් දැන් මේක හොදයි.
Houses near the Salava Army camp were damaged owing to the shrapnel. With no place to go, most people were forced onto the roads. Others took shelter in public places such as temples and schools.
Since we wanted to safeguard our lives, we came to this location without even closing our doors.
Our house was shook when the explosion happened. Sand was kicked up into the air and dust covered the 3-wheeler I had. The sounds kept increasing and we left because we were afraid.
47 persons who sustained injuries as a result of the explosion were admitted to the Avisavella, Homagama and Kandy hospitals. The explosion resulted in the death of one soldier. Shrapnel from bombs and ammunition could be seen in a number of locations, including houses and shops. Our correspondent said that shrapnel had spread over 3 kilometers from the location.
Almost all the houses are damaged. Roofs have collapsed while some houses have caught fire. You cannot go near those areas. We have nothing. We have nothing to wear either.
ඊ රාත්‍රියේ යුද හමුදා කඳවුරේ සිදු පිපිරීමෙන් පසුව අද පෙරවරුවේ
Following the explosion at the army camp last night, I arrived at this village about a kilometer away from the army camp. I came here following reports that large shells had landed here following the explosions. You can see that a shell almost as large as I am landed close to this house. A large portion of the shell has been embedded in the earth. A section that is as tall as I am is sticking out of the ground. This shell had landed near this house at about 2 a.m. today.
පමණ තමයි මේ නිවස ආසන්නයට පතිත වී තිබෙන්නේ.
කාමරයක් ඇතුළ පිච්චිලා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම.
The wall collapsed on the cupboard. The front of the house is destroyed. The roof is also broken.
අපි මේ රැඳී සිටින්නේ මාවල්ගම ප්‍රදේශයේ නිවසක. මේ ඔබ දකින්නේ ඊයේ
We are at a house in the Mavalgama area. What you see here is a shell casing which landed in the area. We do not know if this shell has exploded or not, but if any one of us tries to remove this, an accident could occur. This house has been damaged by the incident last night. We can see how shrapnel has scattered everywhere. The interior of the house is also damaged. The occupants of this house have abandoned their home and have moved to safer locations. This is another shell casing which has landed here, and yet again we cannot ascertain if the shell which is at the porch of this house has exploded or not.
මේ උණ්ඩයක් පුපුරපු උණ්ඩයක්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් තවමත් පුපුරලා නැද්ද කියන්න අපිට පැහැදිලි නෑ. මේ නිවසේ ගෙමිදුලේ මේ උණ්ඩය පතිත වෙලා තියෙනවා. මම වගේ නෝරලා ඔව්. ඇත්තටම නැති. Jangan.
Shells and ammunition blown apart by the explosions also caused damages to the Koskama hospital. A doctor's vehicle which had been parked at the hospital was also damaged.
The roofs of the hospital buildings have been damaged. All the walls are cracked. Most of the official residences have also been damaged. I think we will not be able to recommence operations here for 6 months at least. All the doors and walls have been damaged severely.
Remnants of shells and shell casings could be seen on the roads around Koskama as well. Army spokesperson Brigadier Jayanath Jayavira cautioned the public against handling the ammunition and debris.
We call on the public to refrain from handling the shells and shrapnel blown apart by the explosions. If you do come across any shrapnel, then kindly inform the army or police immediately.
The police special task force said 10 trained teams have been deployed to undertake the task of defusing any live ammunition and to take custody of shell casings.
Meanwhile, health officials say that those residing in the vicinity of the Salava army camp in Koskama could experience respiratory difficulties due to the smoke emitted from the fire which broke out at the camp.
The explosions which began at the Salava army base last evening raged on till this afternoon. The fire which broke out at the camp created a cloud of smoke in the skies in and around the Koskama area.
If you look at the components of gunpowder, it mainly contains sulfur and other elements like nitrate. These elements could react with the oxygen in the atmosphere and create sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. At the same time, the explosion could have caused some particles which are invisible to the naked eye to mix with the atmosphere. These particles are the most toxic.
Specialists opine that these chemicals could cause illnesses.
When you inhale these gases, there can be problems to your respiratory system, and your throat, your lungs can get affected, and you might develop flame catarrh, asthma, and things like that. And if these chemicals touch your skin, there can be allergic reactions like rashes and itching, scratching. Therefore, what you should do is, if you are close by, always wear a gas mask, or if you can't find a gas mask, wet a piece of cloth and cover your nose and mouth, and also the eyes if possible, because
specialists point out that the risks can be mitigated by taking adequate precautions.
People need not panic. The effect of wind will cause these particles to dissipate within a day or two. In the event of rain, this process will be swift. If the explosions have ceased, then these particles will return to the earth within 2 days. This will not have a serious impact on the atmosphere because the area is very small. These will not remain in the atmosphere eternally. Gravity will return these particles to the earth, so we need not fear.
Health services are also geared to provide emergency treatment when required.
We need to be a little bit cautious. There can be chest ailments, especially respiratory tract issues, for which, of course, people can go to the nearest government hospital and take medicine treatment and advices from the doctors and the staff. and also we need to focus on the drinking water. The unprotected wells, there can be contamination, so therefore those wells should be clean and people can consume tap water without any issue.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has pledged that the government will take steps to rebuild homes that were damaged as a result of the fire and explosions at the Salawa Army camp. The Prime Minister made this statement at a meeting held at the Sitawaka Divisional Secretariat today.
Disaster Management Minister Anura Priyadarshini Yapa, Minister Suzil Premajayantha, Sagal Ratnayaka and Gayantha Karunatilaka and Opposition MP Dinesh Gunawardena attended the meeting held today. The politicians held discussions on providing relief for people affected by the incident and recompensing property damage.
I had discussions with the President. I spoke to him this morning as well. It was agreed that all damaged homes would be rebuilt or repaired. Accordingly, relief will be granted through this minister's ministry. It will take a few days to determine who should get the relief. In the meantime, we will take steps to provide all facilities to the people as they return to their homes. We will have to prioritize reconstructing homes that were completely destroyed.
The Ministry of Disaster Management also convened a media briefing today to clarify facts pertaining to the fire.
The government will take up the responsibility of rebuilding all the homes. The Prime Minister agreed at this meeting to rebuild both damaged and destroyed houses. Special mention must be made of Sirasa TV, which carried an all-night broadcast on the situation. Rumours were spreading that there was no power in some areas. We also prepared loudspeakers to coordinate the evacuation. This was a new experience. I personally walked through the camp and visited every area, including areas where there were explosions. There had been no deaths within the camp. One soldier in the camp was injured and unfortunately he passed away in hospital while receiving treatment.
Journalists raised questions on what triggered the explosions.
This is not the first time that this happened in Sri Lanka. Accidents happen. It could have been caused by a lightning strike or even a tremor. It could be an electric short circuit. At present, we do not know what exactly happened. We can only say for certain following an investigation.
Views were expressed on the fire at the Salawa Army camp at several media briefings held today.
The government, which is so concerned with the security of the former president, purchasing secure vehicles for the Prime Minister and VIP security, is not concerned with the safety of ordinary people. This is the real situation. The safety of ordinary people must come foremost. The government must immediately conduct an investigation into this. The government must also pay compensation for the lives that were harmed. An emergency meeting of the National Security Council was held this morning, and His Excellency the President, the Honourable Prime Minister and the relevant officers have decided that all homes that were damaged will be rebuilt with the assistance of the Army. His Excellency the President and the Honourable Prime Minister have also decided that ammunition dumps will only be located in less populous areas. If any person is attempting to advance their narrow political aims using this incident, I see that as the lowest form of politics. It is an insult to the war heroes who saved this country. It is disgraceful.
Minister Sajid Premadasa expressed these views at the opening ceremony of the Performance Arts Hall at the Sri Devananda Vidyalaya.
On to more local news this evening. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, who was taken into custody by the Police Financial Crimes Division, was ordered to be released on bail by the Pugoda Magistrates Court today.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa was summoned to the FCID today to record a statement on purchasing a plot of land in the Malwana area in Gampaha. He was subsequently arrested by the FCID and produced before the Pugoda Magistrates Court. The former minister was released on a cash bail of 100,000 rupees and two sureties of 2 million rupees each. Kuala Chief Magistrate D.A. Ruwan Pathirana issued the order. The former minister was also ordered to appear before the FCID every other Sunday. This has become a daily occurrence for us and we have to face it. We know that we have to face such instances under a fraudulent good governance. We will not be discouraged. It will only increase the trust of the general public in us. The fact that I had to present before a court in Gampaha can be considered fate. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa was arrested on the 22nd of April last year on charges of printing and distributing 5 million almanacs with a picture of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa for the 2015 presidential election at a cost of 20 million rupees belonging to the Divinaguma department. He was released on bail by the Karwala Magistrates Court. Summoned to the Financial Crimes Investigation Division on the 12th of last month regarding a land transaction in the Mathura area, Basil Rajapaksa was once again released on bail on the same day. This is the third instance Basil Rajapaksa has been taken into custody and released on bail.
Convening a media briefing today, the Socialist Alliance expressed their views on the reappointment of Arjuna Mahendran as the governor of the central bank.
You are aware that the current governor of the central bank can only remain in office until the 30th of this month if he is not reappointed to that position. So now the government is left with the decision if they are to reappoint Arjuna Mahendran as the governor of the central bank or if they are to appoint someone else. There is a strong public opinion that he is not suitable for this position in any way considering what he has done during his tenure since February last year to February this year.
I personally know that the Prime Minister intervened to prevent certain reports from being published in the newspapers on the harmful impact caused to the country through a scam at the central bank and the role of the central bank governor in this scam. The Prime Minister has intervened to ensure that none of these matters are published in the newspapers. This is according to the democracy of his newspapers.
Muslims in Sri Lanka will begin fasting tonight as the Grand Mosque announced the sighting of the new moon in several parts of the island. Fasting held from sunrise to sunset during Ramadan is one of the 5 fundamental religious duties of Islam. It is a time of self-examination and increased religious devotion. Well, before we wrap up this edition of Primetime News, here's a reminder that you could keep abreast of the latest and trending stories on our award-winning website, that is www.Newsfirst.lk. On that note, we wrap up this edition. Thank you very much for stopping by. For the News team, I'm Joel Outscourt.
And I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Good night. Take care.
Good night.